Hey guys, in today's episode we talk with Marissa Wood with Union Financial. She is a financial advisor that grew up in her family business and is now helping run the show. Marissa actually specializes in strategies to help millennials retire, so we had fun talking about communicating those strategies to make that happen. Check it out. Hey Marissa, thanks for joining our podcast today.
Hey Jeremy, thank you.
All right, so we got to let the audience know who you are. What do you? Who are you? What do you do?
So I'm Marissa Wood. I am one of the owners of Union Financial Services, an independent advisory firm, and I'm a financial advisor in Land O'Lakes, Florida.
Well, no, you're in Land O'Lakes now, but
I service. I've had clients in New Jersey, which is where we started, Pennsylvania, Florida. I go all the way out to California sometimes. So I really do have a large service area. This is just where our primary office is now.
It makes sense that you moved to Florida because growing up in Jersey and apparently being a Philadelphia fan, I'm glad that you've come to Florida to know where everything actually good things come out of, right?
Yeah, the sunshine, it doesn't get old.
How are you a Phillies fan or a Philadelphia fan, I should say?
Oh, man. Well, it tries me every year. The Phillies are entering the playoffs right now, but I'm coming off of a really tough Eagles loss that I had to sit through live on Sunday in about 100-degree heat, so that was tough. But I'm a diehard. So.
But why? Are you from Jersey? How are you?
Okay, so in New Jersey, New Jersey has two parts of it, North and South. North Jersey is close to New York, follows all the New York sports teams. South Jersey is closer to Philadelphia, follows all Philadelphia teams. And my parents were super huge Philadelphia sports fans, so it's just what I grew up with.
All right. Well, we forgive
Pray
you.
for me.
Yeah. I'll pray for you, but I also forgive you. I just wanted you to know that. All right. So you said, let's not drink whiskey today. Sometimes we drink whiskey. Sometimes we drink Coke. Sometimes I don't know. So
it's a work day. So,
yeah, well,
this was 4 o'clock, a little different. Yeah.
It's always 5 o'clock somewhere. No, let's have some Coke. So
all right, cool.
we do the fancy stuff here. Hold on. This is what my producer likes.
It's ASMR.
All right. I'll let you pour that as you would like. Whether you can drink right out of the bottle if you'd like. The cups are just for show.
Fancy.
Oh, okay.
Soda's always better out of glass, too.
Oh, no, I messed it up. Oh, no, I messed up again.
Oh,
I know, right? I got the first one.
You didn't get that good sound bit.
No. All right. I will be drinking mine out of the Coke bottle because I think it tastes better that way. All right? Cheers.
Cheers.
All right. So, Marissa, I'm curious what, as a financial advisor, what you truly bring to the table. Because when I think of a financial advisor, I can think of multiple things. I can think of someone who's crazy into the market and knows every single thing going on. And then I think of multi-level marketing financial advisors.
Yeah.
Like, where do you fall in somewhere in there?
So being independent advisor, that means we don't have to sell a specific company. Union Financial doesn't only represent one specific investment company. We can access just about any investment firm's product out there if it's the right fit for our client. We work more as that middleman between the investment company they're investing in and the client. And working with an advisor doesn't mean that you have to be a millionaire already. That's a lot of people's assumption that, I don't have enough money to work with an advisor, or I don't know about stocks enough to work with an advisor. I actually prefer working with clients or businesses that don't have a lot of experience. We can start from scratch. I can teach you the basics and you can feel like you know where your money's invested and why.
Right. So where would you say you kind of have a niche on helping with certain families or certain salaries or whatever?
Sure. So, when I grew up watching my parents, which I am second generation of this company, they primarily worked with retirees, those about to retire or are retired. But, coming in as a young investor, I prefer to work with the younger business owners, younger families, people in their 20s, 30s, 40s that are far out from retirement, but they still need to start thinking about it and start planning for things like children, college expenses, home purchases, those, steps throughout life before you get to retirement.
Where do you like to have them start?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean,
like where to start investing
yeah,
in?
like how much, how like, it's kind of like how much should you be thinking about budgeting toward investing? What is your goal to try to get to? Like, do you? I mean, I know that everyone has their own unique story.
Sure. But yeah, a good rule of thumb, and that's a question that we actually get a lot, am I on track? Am I doing what everyone else is doing? And how much should I be investing? So, by the age of 30, experts say you should have 1 times your salary saved for retirement. So if you're 30 years old making $60,000 a year, that means you should have $60,000 in an investment account, not just in the bank. By age 40, 3 times your salary. 50, 6 times your salary. It goes up more and more, which can be daunting, and I'm not saying this to alarm anyone. I'm just giving you an idea on how to get started. The sooner you start, the easier those numbers are going to be to attain.
Right.
If you don't start until 45 years old, reaching 6 times your salary in investments by 50 is nearly impossible to do.
So when you say investment accounts, what do you mean? Because there's so many different types. There's CDs. There's 401ks. Like which one are you talking about?
Yeah, so there is a lot of different types of vehicles. Now, when I say 1 times your salary in an investment, I'm talking about a retirement account such as an IRA, individual retirement account, 401k, a Roth IRA, a cash value life insurance plan, a CD if that's where you choose, or a brokerage account with stocks and mutual funds in it. It doesn't matter where it's invested as long as it's earning interest and you're contributing to it.
Got it. Which is why you're not a bank account, which is basically no interest.
Yeah. Which that actually is one of the things I wanted to bring up is how to earn interest on the money you have just in your savings in your emergency fund. And every day I meet people that have no idea this exists and they're sacrificing a lot of interest. And so my tip would be to use a high yield savings account for your emergency fund. And look for an online bank like Capital One, Synchrony, a bank that's FDIC insured but doesn't have a physical brick and mortar location.
Right.
Because they're able to offer you that higher interest rate since they don't have all the overhead expenses of a physical location.
Are there any pros and cons to it? You can't get your money as fast, or anything like that?
So the only con with the high yield savings account I have online with Synchrony is that I can't have a checking account there. And so I do have to transfer money back and forth between my TD Bank checking account and that Synchrony savings account.
But how long does that take?
A day.
Okay.
It's pretty instant unless it's a large transfer.
Yeah.
You just have to be able to transfer online and be able to know how to do that.
It's almost like for someone who's not doing this, it's almost like PayPal in a sense. It's just that 1 to 3 day thing.
Yeah, sometimes it can be the same day if it's a small transfer.
Sure.
So looking for an online high yield savings that'll give you at least 4.5% annual yield interest, it's a no brainer.
So why even have a savings account at a bank? Basically, is kind of what you're saying.
I don't. Because the best rates that, not to knock TD Bank or PNC, but the best rates that they're able to give on their savings, maybe 2% if you're lucky. Most of the time it's 0.5%.
Yeah.
And if you can get 4.5 to 5 somewhere else, why wouldn't you do
Hands
that?
down. Yeah. That's kind of what you're getting in a CD, isn't it? For the most part. So,
but a CD is tied up for at least
exactly. It's tied up.
Yeah.
I have one that's tied up for 10 months right now, which is okay.
Yeah,
but,
it's fine.
But
yeah.
I probably would prefer a yielding savings, yielding savings account.
High yield savings account. Yeah.
So, all right, let's think about some money here, some cash. All right. So how much would you recommend having in a checking to know what to put in the savings, right? So a rule of thumb I try to do is 3 months worth in checking. Maybe that's too much.
Well, not necessarily. It depends how high your bills are, of course, too. But I would say Yeah, I would say about 3 months in checking and then an additional 3 to 6 to 12 months in savings
Right.
if you're able to get there.
I mean, then again, though, if you put like just 2 months, you have access to the money really quickly.
Yeah.
If you really needed 3, it's like something just happened.
Exactly. Yeah, unless you have a big bill coming up that you know
Yeah.
is going to be withdrawn from your checking, there's
Yeah.
no reason to leave a lot of money in there.
So if you were to layer things out of like percentage wise, of like, all right, have this in your checking, have this in your yielding high yield savings account,
Yeah.
and then have this invested here, then 401k, like because there's multiple levels of. I'm sure that you strategize for not tying up too much money, but also having interest earning accounts and stuff like that. So what would you kind of suggest?
Yeah, I mean, we always need to have a couple different time buckets of money. You know, your right now money that you can get to immediately, and then your short term that ideally you want to leave for the next 1 to 5 years, and then your long term, 5-10 years down the line, which would be a retirement account. So the different tools that we use, so short term would be obviously your high yield savings, your checking, and then a brokerage account, which is mutual funds, stocks that you can get to at any time. There's no retirement restrictions on it, but they're going to be a little more high risk. So you don't want to have next month's mortgage payment in a brokerage account because
Right.
it's going to go up and down with the market.
Right.
And then some midterm money in something like a cash value life insurance plan that you can withdraw from throughout your life, but hopefully you can let it sit there for at least 5 to 10 years. And then your 401k Roth IRA is going to be long term. Now, for people in their 30s, most of that money really needs to be short term to midterm because they're far out from retirement and they're going to need the money sooner. As you get closer to the age 50, 60, almost all of your money besides your basic living expenses should be in retirement funds.
Right.
That breakdown of the percentage in each time bucket is going to change every year.
Right. So I know you kind of have a niche that you kind of go after is helping millennials look at retirement because
I am a millennial.
I mean, you're
Yeah.
like, I got to figure this out for myself. So I may as well help others, right?
Yeah.
But like, would you say that is a reason why many people can go to you for you to be their financial advisor? Because with many independent financial advisors can do exactly what you do, but what makes you unique and different?
Yeah, so I would say, what makes us different is that we're not just chasing a high rate of return, which really any financial advisor can do if you're investing the money in the right vehicles. We can all hopefully beat the S&P 500, the benchmark. But where we're really stronger than, I would say, other advisors is that we have that personal touch. We're a family business. All of my clients have my cell phone number and they know they're going to hear from me on a regular basis. And then it's that planning conversation, having an advisor that will help you learn what your monthly bills are, where you can maybe cut them back a little bit. Having an advisor know that your kid's going to college in a few years. Where are we going to get that money from? It's that planning conversation, knowing you can retire at some point, how much you can live off of every year to not run out of money. Having your children taken care of, God forbid something happened to you. It's really having someone that you feel like is sitting on the same side of the table as you, that you can bounce ideas off of, and not just sitting across the table from you telling you, here's your rate of return. Okay, move along.
Right.
It needs to be a lot more personal. I feel like, it's your money. It's sometimes people's life savings. I better know their name, their kid's name, their vacation plans for the year.
So you mentioned that you're like a second generation in this business. So can you kind of tell us a little bit about how you guys got started and why you decided to continue the family business?
Sure. So my dad actually started the company in 2006 in New Jersey. We were still living in New Jersey. He worked in the banking channel of investing for many years prior to that, but felt as though he was limited in what he could offer his clients. He could only show them bank products, those proprietary 5 or 6 products, and he knew that there was a lot out there that, he wanted to be able to present to his clients. And so he decided to go independent in 2006. I was still in middle school at the time, so I had, no idea at the time what this would mean for my future. But in 2006, when he opened Union Financial, my mom, Lisa, also joined him. She got her licensing. She, went back to school, did all of her training, and dove right into it. And then I really grew up in the business. I would go to the office after school. I would help them do filing and shredding. I would, make coffee for the clients. And it was a natural progression when I decided to go to college that I wanted to study finance. I always loved math growing up anyways. That, I was always a bit of a science math nerd, I would say. And so then after graduating college, I got licensed right away at 21 and pretty much started to build my own book of clients, which was really challenging, being 21 years old, trying to gain that trust from investors. But, it's been a process, and a little at a time. I built my confidence, I learned a lot more, and now, I feel like I've really really, I don't know how to put this, like embraced my role.
Sure.
I feel like I know my part and I can really do a good job. And so now at this point, we've made a couple transitions with our company, opened up our office in Florida several years ago. We still do service some clients in New Jersey, but this is our primary office in Florida, and it's me and my mom running the company at this point. We work side by side together every day on every client, and it's a blessing to be able to spend more time with my mom. And who else is going to have your best interest other than family? Right. So it works out well. And it's funny because a lot of our clients say, you're one of the few advisory firms that actually has a succession plan. This world of investing is kind of an old man's club, has been for many years. And a lot of these men are starting to retire, and they don't have someone that's young going to take over their business and service their clients, which is a huge problem.
Right.
And that's not a problem that we're going to have.
That's a very good point. I'm curious, as you're kind of taking on the business, and I know your mom's still a part of it, obviously, but as you look at the next 20 years of doing this, right? What do you believe you and your brand need to be doing as a financial advisor that's maybe different than the traditional route that others would go?
I would say, who we're targeting young business owners, rather than just targeting people that have already retired. I would say, in general in the world, things are changing with the way people are saving. A lot of us don't have pensions anymore. Pensions are becoming a thing of the past. And a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners don't even have a 401k. It's entirely on them to save for their future. And so that's something that we need to work on, providing education and giving people options on how they can do it themselves, with our help.
Right. How are you trying to reach your audience right now?
So our traditional way of marketing is a bit old school, but it still works for now. And that is mailing out seminar, workshop, dinner workshop invitations and presenting an educational program. But we have recently started in 2024 working with Paper Jacket to reach, our younger target market with video ad campaigns. And, it's nice because now that we have a couple videos in our toolbox, I've been able to send out, a 7-minute video that I have on how to build tax-free wealth with life insurance. And I can send that out to prospects or existing clients for them to watch on their own time, without the pressure. They can rewatch it, they can rewind it, and it has generated business for us.
That's great.
I've sent that video out, and that video has absolutely created a huge return on investment.
What would you feel that you like? Let me ask you this: if you were on the other side of I'm a millennial, I'm younger. Are you more attracted to getting a video and watching that and then scheduling a one-to-one sort of thing, or more of a dinner party invitation? Like, what do you kind of gravitate toward?
Well, I would say a video because I don't even have to leave my house. I can watch it.
Well, we all like a dinner party,
well,
but
sure.
I think we're more
Everyone
practical.
likes a free dinner.
I mean, but it's the reality is we're more practical.
Yeah.
Like, okay,
We're
free
in a
dinner's
hurry.
great, but
We're busy.
I mean, for me to go to a dinner, it either means I'm leaving my wife home with the kids, or I'm paying $200 to go do that because that's our date night.
Yeah.
Is that what I want to sacrifice? I
Probably not.
Yeah, so that's why I do believe
Different
that,
for retirees without kids.
100%.
Different.
Yeah. Dinner party every day.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
I'm like when I'm an empty nester,
Yeah.
I'm back, baby.
Yeah.
But like,
exactly.
so having media, like, that's because of our limitations of being able to be flex. I think that's why we gravitate toward media. It's not necessarily like, I mean, I love a good video and stuff like that, but I grew up watching movies, not like social media videos. But we've learned to, like, I mean, that's half of school now is learning through online education. So it's just, it's like, I feel like millennials had to kind of learn how to do, receive communication through video. And then you go to, the next generations, they're already used to it. And it's like, you want me to go in person to something? What?
Yeah. Yeah.
We're kind of that awkward haircut is what I like to call our generation. But that's interesting that you've been able to generate business already from your videos, and that's awesome to hear.
And the other thing that you probably don't even realize you influenced me to do, but you have, is online calendar scheduling.
Heck yeah.
Before I met with you this past year, I swear to you, I was pen and paper agenda, which, I still do like sometimes. I'm a boomer at heart, but, but, creating that online calendar and being able to just email it to people and, hey, when you get a chance, look at my calendar and schedule what works for you. It's saving me time. It's making me more organized. I think it looks more professional.
Absolutely.
And I don't even think you realized that you influenced me to do that, but you did.
Yeah.
So making little changes, I would say, and the videos kind of have to be short. I know our attention span is not going to be able to endure a 30-minute video on finance.
Sure. Yeah.
They need to be little clips here and there that people can digest and rewatch. Because I know that not everyone thinks my job is as interesting as I think it is. We all want to make money, but most people don't want to know all the little details.
I mean, if you were to go to someone and if you were to start a video or really anything like, hey, I want to talk about finances with you, they're probably gonna be like, not right now.
Yeah.
Right? Most of the time we're watching shorts on our couch in our bed or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But I think we all have retirement in mind, money in mind, stuff like that. If you're bringing up a topic that we're probably thinking about, and then showing the financial side, so if you're making a short and you're like, you probably think you cannot retire as a millennial. Like, you start off like that, you got my attention because that's what we're thinking about. But if you started off with like, I love finances, and then like scroll.
What a weirdo.
But like, I think it's ultimately, I feel like you can grab a lot of people's attention because whenever we talk, I'll kind of share something on my mind. Like, I think, before the podcast today, I was saying like, it's kind of an interesting market right now in October of 2024.
It is.
We
we have an election around the corner.
Yeah.
There's a lot of weird things happening in the world with, wars on the cusp. Now, just yesterday there was supposed to be, this port strike. Now that is put on pause until the new year, but that could impact pricing.
That's interesting. We're gonna pause our strike.
Yeah, we can
I don't think I've
speculate
ever heard
on
that
that one. But and then there is the interest rate cuts that have been happening. There was just a 0.5% cut, and now they're going to continue to do so, probably until they get to a full percentage cut within the next 6 months to a year.
Now, I know that you cannot like say too much on anything really, because you have to like be careful what advice you give as a financial advisor, like on video and stuff like that. But like, as far as generally, right? And you're not making any promises, but like, it's interesting to me that we have sort of a slow market right now because everyone just kind of is in fear of closing on anything. It's not that they don't have money; it's just they're afraid they won't have money later on.
Yeah.
Do you think this is 100% mostly in our heads? Or is it not 100%? It's mostly in our heads.
I mean, so basically, fear of market volatility kind of is in your head unless you're about to retire, unless you're, a few years out from retiring, or you are retired and you're never going to make another paycheck again in your life. And this is it. You got to make it work. But for those of us that are not in that situation, we shouldn't fear a market drop.
We shouldn't fear buying a house. We shouldn't fear doing an investment for our business.
No, it's all about timing. Now, if you're trying to time the market with buying a house or getting into the stock market, you're going to sacrifice some upside because you're going to get in at the wrong time at some point in your life.
Sure.
There's been a lot of things that even just we've experienced in our lifetime, the tech bubble, the big crash in 2008, the housing market crash, COVID, and we have recovered from all of that.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of just, and this is such a cliche thing for financial advisors to say, but just, hold tight, don't sell when everything drops because then you're realizing a loss.
Yeah.
If anything, if we have a dip in the market, you should double down. You should buy more on sale and then be able to ride that upswing.
Which is sort of right now, sort of not right now. I mean,
the market's up a lot year to date. I mean, we've had a couple bad days here and there, but overall, I wouldn't worry about trying to time it. Just stick to the plan, invest on a consistent basis. Some months you're going to be buying high, some months you're going to be buying low. But in the grand scheme of things, a couple down months aren't going to make a difference.
I mean, what we're in right now, I think, is a fear of it's not really a fear of we won't have money. It's more like a fear of inflation again.
Yeah, buying power.
I mean, just when I think about, I remember thinking to myself, once I make it to this salary, I'm going to be a lot more comfortable. And once I made it that salary within the inflation time, it felt like it made no difference.
I know.
And so I'm curious, but at the same time, here's what I've heard from others. I haven't really heard this from you. So I'm curious what your thoughts are on it. Inflation, because of what we had to do in 2020 with pumping money into the market and stuff like that, we had to sort of have inflation. We're supposed to have that uptick, and now we're supposed to be, it's kind of ride the wave as we start going down. It's going to normalize. Do you see that as the pattern, or you're actually, no, it got kind of messed up?
I think inflation was out of control the past couple of years, and there was no reason for it.
No reason for that much.
I mean,
that high.
I understand how COVID kind of triggered some of it,
Sure.
but I think it did get out of control, and we have to cool it down now. That's why they raised interest rates.
Right.
That cools off the market. It's supposed
Right.
to, and
Right.
it's supposed to lower inflation. Now we've gotten it back to a decent level. I think housing prices are still outrageous, but all of this inflation and kind of the state of the government right now, I think another fear that we all have is, what are tax rates going to be moving forward? Okay. If we have high inflation and we have high tax rates, what are we going to do? We're
Right.
never going to be able to retire.
Right.
We're never going to be able to buy another house.
Right.
That's a real fear. And that's a conversation I'm having with a lot of my clients.
Yeah.
And so, how do we combat those two? Well, we help combat inflation by being invested, using a high yield savings account, trying to keep up with our buying power.
Right.
And we combat, fears of rising taxes by using a tax-free investment strategy, such as the Roth IRA and such as fixed index universal life insurance, which is life insurance that you can access your cash value, and every withdrawal is tax-free. So, that's when people get obsessed with their 401k plan. I'm always like, oh, please don't put all your money in there, because all of that money is going to be taxed when you take it out. And what rate is it going to be taxed at? Can you tell me what tax rates are going to be 30 years from now?
Of course not.
No. Do you think they're going to be higher? Probably.
Right. And
So
then,
why would you want to put yourself in that position?
Yeah. I mean, so your kind of strategy for retirement is to be as tax-free as possible, because you don't know what they will do, right?
Yeah,
that's the strategy.
Because guess what, too? if there is any Social Security left for us, I think there will be something. You know, the tax you pay on your Social Security is based on your taxable income.
Mm-hmm.
If all of my income is coming from life insurance and Roth IRA money and is tax-free, guess how much taxes I'm going to pay on my Social Security?
0.
Nothing.
Right. Right.
That's how you plan
Mm-hmm.
for, you know, years down the line and all those fears.
So talking about businesses, you know, why is it beneficial for a business to help, you know, their employees with these Roth IRAs and stuff like that? You know, rather than maybe just giving them a raise. I mean, obviously a raise is good too, right? It helps either way. But why is it good for a business to maybe look into that instead of a raise?
Well, you know, I think it's a way to retain employees. And we all know that hiring qualified employees and keeping them is really hard nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the work ethic is just not there anymore for a lot of businesses.
It's true.
You know, I'm sure a lot of business owners can attest to that. But
yeah, I don't
not you.
Yeah,
you have amazing employees.
yeah. No, no, you're exactly right.
Yeah.
Like I've gotten to the point where I'm just like, I feel like I worked my butt off and didn't make any kind of difference with the kind of customer service I received. Like it's like, and it's like, we're starting to sound like boomers in a way, right?
I know, we really are.
Darn kids, right? But
no one wants to work anymore.
But I do think that 2020 did a shift of what am I doing this for? And I think that businesses have a responsibility to help bring that energy back in a sense, to say, this is what you're going for. You have a life ahead of you.
And we're going to invest in you.
Yeah.
And we're going to help you save for your future. And we want you to stay here, you know, because we care about you beyond just a raise.
It shouldn't just be like, I'm giving you a job. Like, that's actually not as attractive anymore. It's like, I think while we're starting to see somewhat of a downturn in work ethic and stuff like that, because we don't see our future ahead of us. And that's really daunting, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, I in some ways I'm like, what am I building toward my child's future? I feel like my child doesn't have a future because you keep telling me the earth is going to, or America's going to blow up in a year.
Yeah.
Every 4 years, America's going to blow up. Yeah. Every 5 years, there's going to be a natural catastrophe. Every 15 years, there's going to be another, 10 to 15 years, there's going to be another financial crisis. As millennials, we're like,
I know. We're like getting tired already. I know.
And but for me, what I've seen is like in the future is like, okay, I have some help here to invest in the right things to where I see a future in one way or the other. I mean, we never know what tomorrow may bring, but you have to live a life toward, hey, I can earn this and work toward it and stuff like that and have a plan. And I think that's the comfort you bring.
And it's a fine balance of, you know, saving for the future, but still spending your money and enjoying it now.
Right.
You know, even when you're retired, I have some clients that are like terrified of spending their money. And I'm here to tell you, no, you can spend, you know, 60, 70,000 a year and you will never run out of money. So spend it.
Right.
You know, don't just leave it because you could pass away. And then guess what? Your child will spend it. They'll buy that boat. They'll go on that vacation and you'll be wishing that you did that, you know? And so, it's a fine balance of saving, but also spending. And, and I think having someone that you can bounce ideas off of, it helps you have that reassurance that, you know what, I can spend that. You know, my husband says all the time, because you know, I'm such a saver. He said, you know, whenever you tell me we can buy something, I know for a fact we can buy it because I know we're not gonna put ourselves in a bad situation. And so he doesn't have to worry about, you know, what we're spending because he knows, you know, I'll make sure we're fine.
Right.
And I want to do that for my clients too, not just my husband.
I was gonna say, how many of your clients call you like, can I buy this?
All the time.
All the time.
All the time. And sometimes
what's the smallest?
I have to talk them off the ledge.
I can think of big things like I want to buy a boat.
Yeah.
What is the smallest thing that you can remember someone say like, can I buy this Christmas tree?
I mean, it's vacations, sometimes cars. I get that question all the time. Yeah. Recently I had a client that needed to make a withdrawal from their account to replace a window in their house, which
Windows,
I'm like,
man. Windows, though.
They are expensive,
They are
but I'm like, if you have to do that, you know, like,
right. Like, it doesn't matter.
yeah, if you have water damage, you need to replace it.
That's true, right?
You know, and it is funny. They feel like sometimes they need my permission. I'm like, it is your money. Like, I appreciate, the trust here, but
Yeah. But that is also comfort, though, to have a third party helping out with that and stuff like that,
And I don't charge for that, I don't charge fees for calls. I don't charge fees for meetings. I'm not an attorney that charges hourly. I get paid one of two ways, either a commission from an insurance carrier if we're doing life insurance, or I get paid an asset management fee of 1.5% of whatever the assets are that I'm managing for you.
So I'm curious, like when it comes to like what kind of client do I need to be of yours for you to know my situation of whether or not I can afford something? Like, because I could buy a life insurance from you, but that doesn't give you insight to all my finance and stuff like that. So what would be the route someone would go with you to become that client?
So it's not necessarily that I have to be managing all of their money, but I have to know the full picture. Maybe we did what we call a retirement analyzer or a financial analysis, a cash flow plan for you, where you're telling me where all your assets are, what your income is. We're doing what your monthly budget is for your expenses. I have to kind of know the full picture in order to give accurate advice. And that doesn't mean I have to be managing everything. It just means you have to be transparent with me over time.
Now, what would that cost somebody?
So that there's no fee for that.
Yeah.
We've been doing this for a long time, and we've kind of realized that, of course we could charge a fee for that plan or that, full analysis, but we end up making more in the long run when we don't charge a fee because it generates referrals for us. Future investments, sometimes one case I can think of, we did a huge analysis plan for a client that was investing only $15,000. And that's, I would say a lower end startup investment for us. And, we were able to still put the time in for him. He really appreciated it. We knew maybe in the future it would one day pay off in a referral or a future investment. Well, 3 months later, his mom died and left him upwards of 7 figures.
Wow.
And so that paid off quicker than normal for us, because then he came to us and said, I trust you guys. I want you to manage this for me.
Remember the 15 grand?
Yeah. Yeah. You treated me well for, when I had that money. So I know you'll treat me well now. And it doesn't always work out like that. Sometimes we take a loss, I would say, but most of the time that's how
you lead with providing value.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's very important. And I would say that's where everyone should start, looking to buy a car, looking to buy a house. Like, just, you want to save your marriage, have you involved, right?
And both spouses too. You know?
Yeah. So that's a really cool thing. I highly recommend anybody listening or watching this to contact you to get that service.
Thank you.
And if you like it, buy it. Right? No. And I think I'm not afraid to tell everybody, like, look, if you're going to somebody to get a freebie, it's kind of messed up, isn't it?
Well, not necessarily. I mean, I think everyone should do.
There's
do
a
their
no pressure
research,
point. There's
do
no
their
pressure
interviews.
point. But if you're going in there with zero intention to ever hire, that's
not great.
You're not a good person.
It's not great.
You know? So it's different. It's a different mindset than taking a piece of chicken from a teriyaki chicken stand, right?
Yeah.
Either way, though, I highly recommend someone do that with you, and that I'm glad that you provide that kind of value. I believe we all kind of need that right now, because there's so many strategies out there that no one's aware of. Just, I mean, whether you grew up with wealthy parents, non-wealthy parents, it doesn't matter. Get the education of what it is right now, and I'm glad that you're kind of able to bring that to the table. And so, any as we kind of come up to wrap this up here, any big plans over the next year for maybe growing your brand and stuff like that?
I would say so. We're definitely going to be looking to hire at least assistants.
There you go.
It's tough because I am a bit of a control freak with the company, especially with my clients' money. I feel like it's my own. And
Right.
so, it would take me a while to trust another advisor with my
Sure.
clients. And it's probably not something I'll do anytime soon, but maybe another advisor to hire and have them have their own clients
Yeah.
and kind of just work alongside of us.
That's good that you're growing. That's
Eventually,
great.
we want to grow. Yeah.
Yeah.
For now, I mean, me and my mom are a power team together, but at some point we are going to have to expand a little bit. Yeah.
So I know that when you invested in the videos earlier this year, that you were like, okay, what do we do with them, right? And we had some conversations, some strategies around it. So I'm curious, has your perspective grown on how you can leverage your media when it comes to the marketing?
Yeah, I would definitely say so. Since we did those, and we needed to start with the basics of who Union Financial is and just get a couple basic topics.
Yeah, that toolbox video.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But now I'm thinking of more specific videos I want to film that.
Well, why are you feeling that way now based upon your first one? Is it because of the success you saw? Is it because of just like you feel
I
like
have more ideas
that
I didn't have
There
7
you
months ago because I was a little nervous to film
Naturally,
the first time.
yeah.
And now I have more ideas. Seeing specifically that life insurance video has been the most profitable for us.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to measure the profit of a brand video.
Sure.
I mean,
because it is,
yeah.
it's more of like it's your brochure, it's your website, it's your office space. It is. You're right. It's part of that like your presentation, if you would. It's not a campaign video like you're putting ad spend behind sort of situation.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we have gotten clients because they felt more comfortable with our brand, due to the videos. But now I'm thinking of more product specific videos that I can send out to clients, in lieu of them coming in.
Yeah.
Or maybe after a meeting when they're going home to speak it over with their spouse and they can't remember all the details.
Right.
So now I'm thinking, we need to make a couple specifically targeted videos.
Yeah. I mean, if you were to just sit down and start making videos about products that exist,
The problem is the products keep changing.
Well, I mean, but that's okay.
Yeah.
And you literally mentioned that, right? Like right now there's a product. That product could change, which is why you need a financial advisor. Call to action.
Yeah. I mean, like we just were notified there's a product that's giving a 20% bonus. That was 13 2 weeks ago. And that could change in 2 more weeks.
Right,
so it's, it's a little frustrating on our end because I don't want to feel salesy. Like, hey, you have to do this right now. But sometimes it is time sensitive.
There's 2 types of marketing. There's brand new client marketing, and then there's current client marketing. Of like, all right, my current clients, I have your attention for this, and to me, those would be the products that kind of like, hey, this is a temporary thing because
like a promotion product.
Yeah, because you already have their attention. Where I feel like the products that don't change a whole lot, like for example, some certain life insurance policies and stuff like that you have that people just are not aware of that exist, like the video already made.
Sure.
And making like short pieces like that, that is good for a cold audience, right?
Okay, that's a good point.
Yeah, making videos for cold audiences and warm audiences are very important. I think sometimes we think, I need to do marketing, and you only think about cold audiences. And I'm like, your warmed up audience is going to earn you the most profit.
That's so true. They already know you and like you.
Yeah. I mean, that's why email marketing exists. It's subscribe to me, just hang out with me. And that eventually turns into a customer way quicker than just doing cold all the time. Cold is still important because you got to bring them in, but the whole point is warming up your audience. And what does it take to warm up an audience is media. There's many strategies on doing that, but unless you have the media, it's pointless. And so I'm really happy that you were able to kind of experience that with your current videos.
Yeah, and I'm excited to, keep going and think of new things. And, not only do you produce good videos, but I get a lot of ideas from you, which I know is kind of your forte. You're the marketing brain.
Right.
And, I appreciate that.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And my last question, after you were nervous and stuff like that, coming in, doing some videos with us, what sort of changed your mindset is when you started, like, now you don't seem as nervous doing it. I mean, you're doing the podcast.
Well, I guess because I saw the results and I saw that, even if I did make a couple mistakes while we were filming, they didn't translate into the results, the final product. And I guess, I saw that it's worth trying.
Yeah.
What's the worst that can happen? You spread a little bit of awareness about your company and eventually you'll get a few clients from it,
Yeah.
There's really no downside with a nice video.
So would you say, as we think about our audience listening to this, gotten a lot of good tips on what they can do in their business to help others, what they can maybe do for their own families if they haven't looked into this, and so on and so forth. I mean, we could spend probably another 3 hours talking about all the benefits that you could bring to them, but I want to save that for your conversations on one-to-one with them. But talking about growing your business, growing how you kind of present your products, present your brand, and then just learning how to grow a business in that sense. Like, why do you believe that media is important for any business currently right now in our market?
I think it builds trust. And, the more it's natural, the more you are exposed to someone's face, voice, mannerisms, you feel more comfortable with them. You feel like you have a connection with them versus just going on a website and not even seeing a picture or maybe just a headshot that was taken 20 years ago. You don't feel like you really know a person and people don't want to work with people that they don't know, like, and trust.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, the way media really is profitable for businesses.
That's awesome. I hope you enjoyed
I did. That was fun.
Today. Was this fun?
It was fun. I kind of like it.
Let's have a little toast here.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you, Marissa. Thanks for tuning into our episode, guys. Hey, do you like podcasts? Have you thought about maybe making a podcast? Well, reach out to us at Paper Jacket and we'll advise you on the best steps to get started in creating a podcast around your brand and your message. Just go to paper-jacket.com and contact us there. See you on the next episode.